Zuckerberg, meantime, in focus at the company's annual shareholder meeting, which began a little over an hour ago. Julia Borston joins us from Redwood City, California, with the latest. Julia.
Hey, that's right, Kelly. Because Mark Zuckerberg controls the majority of Facebook's voting shares, all of Facebook's proposals were adopted. All of Facebook's board members were reelected, including Peter Thiel, and Facebook's proposal to create a new class of shares was approved, enabling Zuckerberg to maintain voting control even as he sells some of his shares to fund philanthropy, and the company makes acquisitions or issues new shares. Now, none of the shareholder proposals were adopted. Zuckerberg did speak a little bit about his roadmap for the company, talking about the potential to generate additional revenue, not just from Facebook's traditional business, but also from places outside of advertising.
Over a 5-year period, some of the newer initiatives that we're working on, I think will start to not only become very large communities in their own right, and some already are, but some of these new initiatives will also start to contribute meaningfully to our overall business. So I'm thinking about new apps that we're working on, like Messenger and WhatsApp, which I think you could say are pretty meaningful communities at this moment.
Sandberg and Facebook's public policy chief addressed a question about bias in trending topics, saying they are focused on working on this issue and on full transparency. Zuckerberg was also asked if he plans to step back from management to focus on his philanthropic effort. He says no, he plans to lead the company for quite some time. That comment was met with a round of applause. Callie, back over to you.
Thank you, Julia.
All right, let's talk about this. A pair of Facebook shareholders join us right now with different points of view on some of these topics. Ross Gerber, our friend from Gerber Kawasaki. Julie Goodridge is back with us from North Star Asset Management. Good to see you both. Welcome back. Julie, you have long been a critic of the voting structure at Facebook, especially the number of shares that Mark Zuckerberg owns gives him that ironclad control over votes here, but yet you still are a shareholder. Why?
Well, we're making money in the stock. The company's doing well now. I think that the issue, though, is that, for the last 3 years, we've filed a shareholder resolution asking them to give shareholders 1 vote per share, because Zuckerberg and some of the other insiders have 10 votes per share. So, for example, last year, had everyone had 1 vote per share, our resolution to reclassify the stock as 1 vote per share across all classes would have won. That said, Ross, do you support Facebook's current management structure and its voting structure, these shares consolidated into Zuckerberg's hands as is?
Well, I think that she makes a valid point, but you invest in every company based off sort of the rules that they're setting up, and this rule is pretty simple. It's Zuckerberg rules. The whole shareholder meeting is almost a farce. He votes everything on or off himself. But that's who we're betting with, is Zuckerberg, and that's totally transparent. So my thing is, if you don't like it, don't buy the stock. But if you want a guy like Zuckerberg running your company, this is the way he's going to do it, and it's going to be on his terms. And that's the way capitalism works, and they're relatively
actually, that's actually not the way capitalism works. The way capitalism works in this country.
If you run a company, you want to stay in charge.
Julie, go ahead.
You want to stay in charge? Thank you. That's not the way capitalism works in this country, and I believe when people go in to buy shares of a stock, they're interested in owning shares of the company. That's why you buy shares of a publicly traded company, because the concept is that they're publicly traded. And my beef with Mark Zuckerberg is, look, it's fine if you want to maintain massive control of the company. You should have hung on to 51% of the shares. That's just fair and makes a whole lot of sense. He would have accomplished the same goal. Now, instead, what he's done is they are now issuing Class C shares. So they have A with, 1 vote per share, B with 10 votes per share for the insiders, and Class C, which will have no votes per share.
It sounds, Ross, like you agree most of the time with what Zuckerberg does. What would happen, though, if you disagreed with something? And I mean vehemently.
You wouldn't have the
votes to do anything about it.
I would sell the stock. I push a button and I'm gone. It's just like Apple right now. There's things that are happening I don't like, and I sold half my stock. And it's really simple. You vote with your dollars. If you don't like the structure in the way you're investing with Zuckerberg, then don't invest with Zuckerberg. But this is capitalism.
That is such a crazy argument, because quite truthfully, what we're trying to do is invest in a company that we believe has long-term value. And we are long-term value investors. And Facebook is one of the companies that we believe is a game changer and has changed, the course of communication. So it's a good investment. The problem is that when he's taking more and more and more and more control, the guy starts looking like a megalomaniac, and that's really we're not
so
comfortable
unfair.
with that.
This is only a result of him giving away all of his stock to charity. The guy wants to maintain control of the company.
But he hasn't. He has retained control of the company,
Well,
and he's doing this so that he can continue to retain control of the company.
I think it's a mistake.
With all due respect, isn't it the way capitalism works that if you don't like the way it's being run, that you sell your shares? Simple.
No, I actually think that people invest in companies for a lot of reasons, because there are things that they believe in, they want to make a profit from the company, maybe they want to get a dividend, maybe they support management, maybe they want to push to try to get, more women on the board. I mean, there are a variety of reasons why people might have a company like Facebook in the portfolio.
I
think it's pretty short-sighted to think that you would just all of a sudden sell a stock simply because you didn't like something that the guy said. I mean, there's lots not to like about Facebook, don't get me wrong. I mean, when I find out that one of the board members, there aren't that many, and they're mostly men, when I find out that one of them is supporting, is a representative for Donald Trump, a delegate, that makes me a little bit nervous about, wait, where is this company going? What do they stand for? Why is it okay to have, 5 board members, of which one comes out as this sort of raving lunatic? It doesn't make any sense. It makes me mad.
If you look at North Star Asset Management, which we just took a stake in, you have the same thing going on in your own company. That is ridiculous.
That's a different
That's not your
asset management.
Okay, well,
no, it is not. I'm the CEO of a company based in Boston, and we do socially responsible investing.
Okay,
and
well,
so
I'm sorry, you're named after another investment firm. But nevertheless, I think it's very simple.
Actually,
when
they were named after us.
Okay. When you buy stock in a company, you either invest with the founder and their vision, or you don't. And if you don't like it, you can move on. Some founders, for example, like me, want to maintain control of my company.
Okay, so why are there board members then?
Because
why have a board? Why not just have Mark Zuckerberg?
Well, he votes on the board. He votes on who he wants.
Why do you think he went public? Why did Facebook go public if he wanted this level of control?
And by the way, the Facebook board is excellent, has done an excellent job. So shouldn't we be criticizing bad boards instead of ones that are doing really well?
Yeah, but Ross, I mean, you have to admit, there is the seeming lack of checks and balances inherent in the usual structure of a publicly traded company where you have the CEO, sometimes you have a different CEO and chairman, and you have these board members there who are there as a sounding board and an advisory board to the CEO and to management. But if you have this kind of a structure, CEO, anything goes with him then. Right?
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying you know this when you make the investment. But most of the boards in America today are a joke, and we know this, and that's why there's activists everywhere, because we need to shake up many boards in America.
Quick last word, Julie. Okay, but what's happened, of course, is that the structure that they went in with was one structure, and they've completely amended it again and again to try to give Zuckerberg even more control than he already has. That's a trend, and it's a trend in the wrong direction.
All right, we got to go at this point, folks. We let it go long because it was such a good conversation, and frankly, this is what capitalism is all about. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I love that. And I own some of it.